Limited, ACC Limited. Now he is heading and CEO of the Power Sector Rescue Council. हमारे दूसरे एक्सट्रीम गेस्ट हैं विनोद कुमार सिंह जी. He is a master degree holder in human resource management from Xavier Institute of Social Services. Mr. Singh Saab has a 28 years working experience with the Power Grid. He has been appointed as a director personnel for the Power Grid. Power Grid is a Maharatna PSU under the administrative control of Ministry of Power. And we have another guest, Mr. Manoj Sharma. He has not yet joined. He will be joining soon. Mr. Manoj is head of resources with the Adani Electricity Mumbai. And no doubt we are discussing the online, how we can do online education or how we can do online education in or online training in the power sector. And definitely we are doing the webinar. This is also online. So definitely it's a new opportunity for everyone. So I will now like to invite our CEO sir to take the webinar ahead.
Just 1 minute. Ji. No, meeting has already started. I am telling British, can you help Mr. Manoj Sharma? He is finding it difficult to join. Just let him in.
I will coordinate with the Vishakha and Nidhi will do that, sir.
Vishakha and Nidhi to
So
do it.
you please
Join
join with the session.
कर रहा है सब कर रहा है.
Vishakha, please coordinate with the Manoj ji.
Yes,
Ji, sir. Ji, sir. Continue, sir.
Please coordinate with him. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be welcoming all of you on the occasion of this webinar on challenges in online training delivery in the context of COVID-19 outbreak. So once again, I extend a hearty welcome to all of you, and in particular to our eminent panelist, Sri Manoj Sharma, from who is head human resources in Adani Electricity Mumbai Limited, and Sri V.K. Singh, who is director personnel with Power Grid Corporation of India Limited. So as Brijesh has already mentioned, Sri Manoj Sharma, our co-panelist, is heading human resources function in Adani Electricity Mumbai Limited, and Adani Group we are all very familiar with. They are a major power infrastructure company in the country, having made foray into different sectors, different subsectors like services, etc., etc. As far as power is concerned, they are a major power producer using both conventional source of thermal sources and renewable sources, and they are targeting to become a major solar power producer in the country very shortly. Mr. Manoj Sharma is spearheading the human resources function. He has been responsible for introducing a large number of progressive human resources initiative, which is one of the factors enabling Adani organization to grow so phenomenally in the country. So we once again extend a hearty welcome to Sri Manoj Sharma. Mr. V.K. Singh, another eminent panelist, he heads HR function. He is Director HR with Power Grid Corporation of India Limited. The Power Grid Corporation we are all familiar with. It's a Maharatna company. In the Maharatna implies one of the most best finance league companies in the country, and with a huge turnover of exceeding 25,000 crore and a very stable profitability and performance track record. Mr. V.K. Singh, in his capacity as head of HR and now director HR with director personnel with Power Grid Corporation, has been at the helm of affairs of human resource management in the Power Grid Corporation, and has been successfully heading this function, implementing several new initiatives, including one of the accolades that Power Grid Corporation has received is that it has been rated among the best employers in India, best companies to work for, by an organization called Great Places to Work Organization, which is a organization operating worldwide and rates companies on the basis of their human resource culture, their culture of performance and output, etc. So they have been rated as one of the best companies in India to work for by a Great Places organization. And he has been having several other achievements to his credit. So I welcome Mr. V.K. Singh also to this webinar here and look forward to his valued participation and observations on the subject.
Sir, sorry to interrupt you here. I request to all esteemed guests who is joining us, not the panel, on the panel, I request everybody to switch off the camera and switch off the mics, please. Please switch off the mics and switch off the camera. So otherwise panelist के लिए सारे videos आ जाते हैं तो it becoming very confusion for them. आप लोग प्लीज़ अपना कैमरा और माइक स्विच ऑफ करके रखें. मेरा सभी गेस्ट के साथ में ये हम्बल रिक्वेस्ट है, सिर्फ पैनलिस्ट के कैमरा और माइक ऑन रहेंगे. सभी गेस्ट अपना कैमरा और माइक प्लीज स्विच ऑफ कर लें. जी विनोद सर, नाउ यू कैन कंटिन्यू.
Yeah. So we are meeting in the aftermath of COVID-19. In fact, COVID-19 still continues. The outbreak began sometime in the middle of March this year, which has led to imposition of lockdown and consequent suspension of various activities, economic and otherwise. So this has led to a severe spell of uncertainties and all the negatives that are associated with an uncertain work environment, business environment. This on account of suspension of economic activities, our economy has to bear a big adverse impact, and the unemployment rate has shot up very phenomenally. The usual unemployment rate in India used to be between 6 to 7%. So in the month of March, when the pandemic broke out, it was about 8.15% according to CMI estimates, which by the time its impact became very pronounced in the month of April, the unemployment rate shot up to 21%. And in the month of May, it rose to the highest level of 24%. As far as economic growth rate is concerned, impact on GDP is concerned, organizations such as World Bank and other eminent rating institutions like Moody's, S&P's, etc., have been projecting negative GDP growth for India. The precise impact and measurements will be known a little later. So this has been the impact on the economic development, and as far as our workforce participation in industry and labor is concerned, that has again taken a very huge hit. We are all familiar, we have been watching the phenomena of reverse migration of workforce. The workforce which used to be employed in industry on account of the outbreak of this pandemic and the resultant health problems, etc., economic uncertainties, loss of wages and employment, they went back to their native places, causing again a very severe blow to the industries and uncertainties to the operations of economic activities that they were engaged in. So all in all, it has been taking a very big toll on the economy. And skilling and skill development, naturally, which is an activity associated with preparing workforce to participate gainfully in the economy, has also suffered taken a great hit. As far as Power Sector Skill Council is concerned, I would like to share with you that power sector employs roughly about 2 million workforce, 20 lakh workforce, covering power generation, power transmission, power distribution, and distribution downstream activities. And roughly we have been training, we at Power Sector Skill Council have been training at a rate of about 50 to 60,000 per year. Till the current last financial year 1920, we had trained, certified and made available about 1.7 lakh workforce, which had been gainfully engaged working in generation, transmission, distribution and distribution downstream activities. A good number of them have been trained as freshers, thereby enabling them to secure gainful employment and livelihood, while a certain number have also been trained as a mid-career intervention who have already been working in the industry but haven't had exposure to formal training and certification. So our intervention has helped them in terms of updating and renewing their skills and thereby making a better contribution to industry. So all this, this initiative of skill training, certifying and making available readily employable workforce has been suffering very hugely since March middle onwards, when this pandemic broke out and all these, on account of the norms of social distancing, the skilling activities came to a halt. So the challenge for us now is how do we ensure, how do we resume the activity? Skilling activity, in fact, is a great enabler which makes a person ready for employment. So on the one hand, we are witnessing these workforce who are, forced to leave their employment. On the other hand, the enabling factor of, preparing youth, skilling them and preparing, making them ready to join industry has also been suffering. So it's causing a twin adverse impact on the industry. So as far as Power Sector Skill Council is concerned, we are grappling with the issue as to how to resume our skilling operation so that our contribution to economy continues and we are in a position to make available employable workforce. One reason, online training delivery definitely has been one source which we are tapping, we have been tapping to kind of at least partly make good the losses in the skilling process. But the real challenge is that, skill development is an activity where substantial part of the learning happens on the job training and practical training. The skills are all about acquiring a skill hands-on and then practicing it successfully in the concerned organizations. So one wonders how exactly online training delivery can help us in training them fully, while a certain component of knowledge transfer can happen and has been happening through online training. This is roughly about, I would say, 1/3 of the training time is spent on delivering training in a conceptual mode, in a classroom training, while 2/3 learning hours and learning time has to be spent learning the skills hands-on in a practical mode, in a on-the-job training mode, which is where we have been finding very difficult. So while during this period from say March middle to April, May and June, these 3 months, we would have been in normal course trained about 15 to 20,000 people, having enabled them to gain secure livelihood and employment in industry. So we have not been able to do anything except for conducting online training in a limited way as a learning reinforcement tool. So that is precisely the challenge. Besides, of course, the loss of revenue, the losses that we are incurring on account of suspension of skilling activity, that is again a big challenge that poses a question, a threat to our very existence itself. But the limited training that we are able to do online is of course helping industry to a limited extent, but not in a very significant manner. So our the purpose of organizing this webinar is to seek your views and suggestions as to how do we optimize the training intervention using online training methods, and so that we are able to answer the needs of the industry on the one hand, and we also continue to survive and grow to help the industry in future. Now, some of the alternate methods that we have been trying now, and they are in the stage of development, is using audio visuals and simulation based training. We have a good number of films made on various job roles. We have roughly about 35 job roles cutting across power generation, transmission, distribution, and downstream operation. And we have developed a good number of audio visual aids, and we are using them as a replacement for real life on the job training to a certain extent. Other alternative is that we are planning to use simulation based training to a certain extent as a replacement for on the job training and practical training exposure to work. Simulation based training and on the job simulation based training and audio visual supported training initiatives are the ones that we have been using, and we have plans to scale it up further, so that assuming that this situation of uncertainty continues for a longer duration, which appears to be very likely, then we should be able to deliver training to a certain extent and meet the requirements of the industry. Other initiative that we had planned is application of AR and VR, augmented reality and virtual reality based training solutions, where you get a look and feel of the work, where you get a look and feel of plant and on the job, on site training within the classroom itself. For instance, we are planning to use AR VR tool for developing job roles, for developing a training supplement in context of power generation job role of, say, coal handling plant operation, then water treatment operations, ash handling plant operations, etc. We develop three-dimensional film using and apply them in the context of AR and VR, augmented reality, visual reality, so that in the classroom itself, a participant can have a feel of having participated in on-the-job training, and which in turn enables him to acquire the skills in a hands-on fashion to a certain extent. It can't be 100% replacement of real on-the-job and practical training, but to a great extent, it can be a next best substitute for a real on-the-job training. So these are some of the initiatives that we are planning, and we are in advanced stage of implementing them, which would enable them to continue with our skilling initiative during this pandemic phase, and hopefully be able to at least partly meet the requirement of industry. Now, as far as NSDC is concerned, NSDC, which is the National Skill Development Corporation, and regulates the skilling activity, they have allowed the training of trainers program and training of assessors program completely using online methods, which we have already started. We have done several batches, and we have plans to scale it up further. But the real challenge would lie in training using these techniques, online training techniques, in the context of ground level participants, for whom, as I said, we are planning to employ AR VR based training delivery plan, simulation based training delivery plan, and larger use of audio visual training solutions to give them a look and feel of real practical training, and thereby enable them gain the acquire the skills which they will be using when they go back, when they begin their work. So that is what.
विनोद जी, सॉरी टू इंटरप्ट यू. मेरा सभी ऑनरेबल गेस्ट से, सभी गेस्ट से मेरा ये रिक्वेस्ट है कि प्लीज़ अपना कैमरा स्विच ऑफ कर दें, अपना माइक स्विच ऑफ रखें. जितने भी गेस्ट हमको, जो हमारे व्यूवर्स हैं जो हमें सुन रहे हैं, उनसे मेरा रिक्वेस्ट है कि अपना माइक और अपना कैमरा प्लीज़ स्विच ऑफ रखें. प्लीज़ स्विच ऑफ योर माइक एंड कैमरा. जी विनोद जी प्लीज़.
या तो ये सारी कुछ बातें मुझे आपके साथ शेयर करनी थी, जो नए टेक्निक्स की हमने ब्रीफली आपके साथ चर्चा की. AR, VR based training solutions, simulation based training solutions, larger application of audio visual contents, which will enable them to deliver training in online mode, which will be somewhat next best option to a real physical mode of training delivery, is something that we have begun, and we are planning to scale up these initiatives in future. I will request the co-panelists to kindly throw some light on these, and help us get an insight into how to scale up these initiatives further. And should they have any other idea about any other solution other than this, we'll be most happy to be knowing from them, and we'll try to implement in our work context. With these words, I thank you all for this opportunity, and I would look forward to hear from other co-panelists. Thank you.
थैंक यू विनोद जी, थैंक यू, थैंक्स अ लॉट, बहुत अच्छा इंसाइट्स आपने दिया। मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा मनोज जी से। मनोज जी, अभी जैसे कि आप देख रहे हैं कि कोविड की वजह से बहुत पेंडेमिक हुआ है और बहुत ज़्यादा बदलाव आ रहा है स्किल के फील्ड में भी। आप अभी चूंकि अडानी ग्रुप में हैं और अडानी ग्रुप का आप सारा HR मैनेजमेंट देखते हैं, और स्पेशली अगर मैं पावर सेक्टर में बात करूं तो आपको किस तरह के लोगों की ज़रूरत ज़्यादा पड़ती है, और जो अभी विनोद जी ने बोला कि कितना ज़रूरी है डिजिटली लोगों को पढ़ाना या ऑनलाइन ट्रेनिंग्स कराना, और वो कैसे पॉसिबल है, रियल चैलेंजेस उसके क्या हैं?
Thank you very much. I think this is the challenge for all the industries as of now. It is not only Adani, whether small, medium, or big, everyone is struggling for that. And during this time, if you will realize that there has been flood of webinars. So you name a company, maybe you had not heard them in the past, even 5 years, forget 5 years, may not even 6 months. They are emerging like with all latest technologies, state-of-art technologies, and they are bringing best of the platforms. And that has connected the entire world together. This is one positive opportunity and aspect that people have witnessed today, that entire world is together on one platform. And
that is true, sir.
And beauty of this is scale. Any large number of people can get together on at one pace, at one platform to share knowledge and opportunities together. I have a couple of slides to share. If you want me to run through that, maybe that will be very good clarity for all the participants.
No, sure, sir. You can share any slide which you want to, and we have a good number of listeners with us, and they are very good. So मैंने सभी को रिक्वेस्ट किया अपना माइक और कैमरा बंद रखें, सभी ने अपना माइक और कैमरा बंद भी रखा है। तो ये बहुत अच्छी बात है सर। जी जी।
Let me share what is changing in the power sector. That is more important to realize because we are talking about power sector. So what is changing? See, if we look at the CE projections, CA projection says about 26% of thermal power is going to increase by 2030. And renewable energy is going to phenomenally increase by 400 plus percentage to 4,50,000 megawatt. And if we see the overall, what is that increase that is bringing on the table for India, that is 125% of the overall generation that is going to happen. Now, what will happen when this will happen? We are shifting from linear technology, linear way of working to integrated scenario. So the integrated scenario is where everything is connected. The grid management is in the center. And if you will see, there is a wind power plant and the smart houses are there, the transmission poles are there, the thermals are there, and the solar power plant is there, hydraulic is there. Every source and channel that is connected, that is what is integrated. That is a major shift that is going to happen. Now, resultantly, the dimension of the change in skills from purely technical to integrated digital and techno-commercial skills, that is going to happen. Now, if you see this web also from generation to the consumers, so those are also integrated. We'll see more in detail. In thermal itself, the coal-fired power plants based on steam cycle that is get fluidized bed combustion systems and integrated gasification systems. Now, what are those skills that are going to change? I'll also take it up. Now, if you see the steam generators up to 600 degrees centigrade, so that will what up to go 700 degrees centigrade. The overall plant heat value of the plant efficiency that will be touching from currently 30% to 40%. Now, the overall change that is happening is smallness of modular and be the fast to build 50 to 300 megawatt. Now, if you go back and see here, the smaller way of generating the power plants, that is going to be the future of our country and the world itself. Almost like near zero emissions that is going to happen. Highly flexible will be the core of the heart of all that technology that is going to happen. In green technology, if you see from solar photovoltaic and wind turbines and hydro parts, so now we are looking at printable and flexible solar cells, biomass gasification technologies, microbial fuel cell technologies that is going to happen. And if we see from here, the T&D changes, that is what the country is looking at now, the smart grids, the digital protection and control systems with GIS, flexible AC transmission systems, high voltage direct current, and usage of PSCAD and EMTDC in the simulators of high voltage AC and DC transmission. This is a total integrated model that is where from centrally, mostly nationally that is centralized, that will get decentralized. The small scale transmissions that will be the major game changers, and unidirectional from consumer is also generating and also receiving simultaneously. That is what is the major change. If you look at it, the many small power producers will also be a game changer technology. If you see here, what is the major change? Maybe if thermal has to reduce the generation of the power in the morning time, and when solar is there in the full boom, how these existing technologies, they'll be reduced to just 10 to 15%. And that is how there will be a flexibility of highly flexible power plants where the smallness of modularity that will play a major role from 50 to 300 megawatt. And that is how the game changer that is going to take place. Now, what is that technical competency? What we have currently, it is going to remain there. But what is the future technical competency that will play a major role? IoT and AI-based power plants in O&M, environment and energy efficiency technologies. Maybe a regulatory mechanism will also impact from customer centricity. This, if that is going to happen from both sides, the unidirectional, how that is going to impact the entire scenario in regulatory also. Small grid distribution technologies and integrated digitized environment that is going to play major role. Look at the skill sets, that will make a major difference. Internet of Things, that is the IoT, predictive O&M, and practice of complete generation, transmission, and distribution. AI-enabled predictive and prescriptive analytics, that is going to happen. Smart homes, smart meter, and smart grids. Cyber security will be the major critical aspect of it. Drones for topography scanning for designing of T&D things. Drones for T&D maintenance and surveillance. These are not small drones which is played by the photographers. These are the highly specialized based on Israel technology. Drones for inventory management like coal stocks. IoT based safety wearables like helmets, watches, etc. IoT based, imagine you are wearing a helmet and you are getting an alarm that you are going to hit a surface somewhere or the roof somewhere. So that is what the IoT based safety gadgets are going to come. Voice based technology for information delivery right at the place where the person is handling the hazardous work in the plant itself. This is the complete model. That is how the international it look like: smart grid organization management, smart grid technology, smart grid customer management, smart grid system integrated and communication. And this is how all the competency that is going to get bridged. if we look at the holistically generic skills to next generation skills, what is that right now in 2020 people are struggling with? What is the go-to-market gap? How do we assess that? If we look at the e-learning market, the overall CAGR by next 3 years to 5 years, it is going to be 25% globally. Now, if that is going to hit so much, so what is that is coming up in a large scale for every one of us? So there is an application, there is a technology, and there will be the providers for content and service. This game is also going to change. The rise of digital transformation talent development says 68% of the employees prefer to learn at work itself, whereas 58% employees prefer to learn at their own pace. They don't want to learn in the structured modular manner. Employees prefer to learn at the point of need. That's a 49%. They don't want to learn just because there is a need written by their managers. If you look at the priorities, what are the priorities? Those are coming up and shown by the research. Data analytics is the highest at 50%, and virtual classrooms is at 35%. But overall, if we see, there is a mobile delivery, there is a content management, and there is a social collaborative tools that is going to be the major game changers. Now, 73% of adults consider themselves lifelong learners, whereas 63% of working adults are professional learners. Now, here is the change where we see about the small organizations. Now, it is not Adani, they are sitting at large, but 46% of the people say social and collaborative tools are required to upgrade their learning system. 50% of the employees say data analytics is required in their mid-sized organizations. Now we have to rethink the learning platforms, because all the learners, what they want, they are looking at what is in it for me. I want more control over my own learning journey. I want to learn more from my manager. The tools I use to learn better to be a high tech. This is big or small, this is the need of everyone. Now, what are those platforms? We had a LMS system where the learning management system, those are the applications and tools. Now, somebody sitting as a manager and saying that he needs this particular course, and that person is doing, this is a push technology. This is the push system. The person is forced to read something else. Now, if you look at the platform, he's getting a freedom to learn, getting engaged with the experts, knowledge exchanges are happening, mix of formal and informal is happening, usage of the total entire end-to-end platform where the person is having the control over his own learning points. Now, social learning is no longer a theory about the future, because 70 to 90% of the workplace learning happens informally. If we look at the 70, 20 and 30, the 10 model, the 70% of the knowledge that takes place from informal, on the job and experience, and 20% remains with coaching, mentoring, developing. Only 10% that
मनोज जी, आपका कैमरा, आपका माइक म्यूट हो गया है। मनोज जी, आपका माइक म्यूट हो गया है। मेरा सभी गेस्ट से रिक्वेस्ट है कि प्लीज अपना माइक म्यूट मोड में रखें, अपने कैमरा म्यूट मोड में रखें।
Sorry,
Manoj ji, we can't. Yeah. Now we can hear you.
If we look at the social learning comes from where the model of 70, 20 and 10. So that is what the corporates are evolving now. 70% of the knowledge, the learning that takes place informally, on the job and experience based. Whereas 20% knowledge that is getting shared or learned by coaching, mentoring and developing through peer system. Now 10% remains with the formal, that system of classroom or the formal interventions that used to take place. Now, how the 70% will take place? That will take place from social learning. Now, social learning, the old way of looking at is that is the company-driven, compliance, event-based, TNIs that takes place. The new way is my self-driven. I am the in charge. That is what is personalized and more relevant to me so that I can handle it better. Now, to keep our people engaged, we have to stay relevant. Relevant does not mean only relevant for the candidates or the employees to stay relevant. The people who are creating those contents, they have to be relevant so that they can keep the learners relevant. Keep it simple. People like gamifications where everything is playful. So if you keep it complex, people will not be able to learn it. So maybe if we want to encourage the repetition, so there are contents, those are available where materials, they can boom through the gamification models, so people can reinforce their learnings, and maybe by the bit sides of learning. Mobile learning market outlook is also very high. 64% of the learners find assessing their training contents from a mobile device essentials. You look at the 89% of the smartphone users download app, 50% of which are used for learning. Because in an average, if you say there is a global research, 20 times minimum average any person looks at it is mobile. Now, there is a connect from social media or not, they are forced to press the buttons on all those videos and the messages. Look at the learning that can take place. Now look at the 71% of millennials say they connect more with mobile learning than L&D activity delivered via desktop or formal methods. So these are the signals we are getting how the scenario is going to change in future. Now look at the mobile learning formats. The videos are there, interactive videos are there, even the interactive PDF files are there, interactive ebooks and flipbooks are there, infographics are there, podcast is there, gamification quizzes are there, decision making scenarios like simulations are there, interactive infographics are there. Look at the, in one single platform, what are the learning channels? Those are guaranteed to boost the learning performance. This is the major critical area. We are all are going to face Gen Z. Gen Z is just coming. We are talking about Gen X. We all are. I mean, I am also a Gen X. Maybe another 3-4 years I'll retire from here. But what will happen at the same workplace or the technologies if they are not meant for Gen Z? The people who are born between 96 to 2012. So how they are going to learn? How they are going to learn on the old technologies? Maybe the technologies we are thinking today, they are going to get obsolete in next 2 years itself. That will not going to work. So what is going to work? AI powered makes L&D competitive advantage. This is what is the game changer for Gen Z. Now, Vinodji was talking about augmented reality and virtual reality. This we are already experienced. Look at the Snapchat lenses, how they are, helping. Maybe there are a lot of games which are helping through augmented reality. The virtual reality is you can swim in the screen with sharks. You can actually work. Imagine, I'll give you 2-3 more examples how artificial intelligence and machine learning, they are going to be the game changers here. The administrators who are handling or deciding the content for each learner, how that will change. Now, there is a machine learning. So there is a content that is already fed. Now that content, imagine people will be able to tag to those contents that they really need it. Now, what is the gap that is coming? All those technologies which we are looking at power sector, whether that is generation, transmission, or distribution, imagine all those technologies are in place. Now, I'm a technician at the floor. I have done some mistake. Now my mistake is already impacted at the central pool of the repository where the central task is there, zone is there. Now, if I am making a mistake, I will get an alert with the help of artificial intelligence that this is the area where I need to learn. Can you imagine this virtual reality? I have made mistakes while doing some joining work. Now, if that data is there, now how many parts I have burnt during this time? Maybe my mean time to repair is also very high. maybe the frequency of failures are also increasing. All this is getting recorded. Now, the manager need not to worry about that, whether my augmented reality that he has to press the button, or he has to actually depend upon the virtual reality where machine learning is already there. Maybe I'll give you another one example. Machine learning would be like giving the data of all the employees, say all the categories of, say, dogs, animals, anything. Now that machine learning can throw with. Now artificial intelligence, it will cut into the segmentations based on that data that is coming. Artificial intelligence will update the content also whenever on virtual basis. Anything that is happening anywhere, maybe I'm exposed to some assessment tool, online assessment tool, whatever data that machine has captured for Manoj Sharma, that will go to the central repository immediately. Now, all those predictions that has to happen for a 1x person, for a learner, that will be popped up, not only to me, but to my manager also, and to my administrator also. The job of administrators are going to change. That's a major shift by the artificial intelligence that is going to take place. The major important part of that is artificial intelligence is it's a personalized learning at scale. Auto tagging will be there. AI powered deep search will be there, and invite to watch will be there. Invite to watch is nothing but elevate the social learning experience. Now, for example, in the Netflix, or you say the Amazon we visit. So what are the products relevant for me that is getting thrown up on the screen? I'm more tempted to choose that. Now, for example, there is a set of 9 competencies where I am supposed to work. So which are the two? Can my manager precisely identify that which are the 2 competencies that I use the most? It may not be scientifically possible, but artificial intelligence will be able to throw those 2 competencies where I am more involved as a professional, as a worker, as a technician, and what are those 2 competencies where precisely my proficiency level on virtual platforms are low to mid or mid to high. So I'll be able to know, I'll be more tempted to learn what is that I require to learn. Now look at the algorithms that gets created. I will get a virtual coach. I need not to have a coach. The virtual coach will appear like Siri and other Alexa and other those answering machines like chatbots. Content curation, that will happen automatically. Content comprehension and analysis, that will happen automatically. And what are the suggestions for my personalization? That will happen automatically. The admin task will get automated. That is happening right now physically. There will be no administrator that needs to control, but there will be pop-ups and signals to the controllers that will go for the central repository. This is the last slide about the blockchain. How blockchain is going to play a major role in the energy sector itself. Look at the current scenario. Now, large generators are there, the network operators are there, energy retailers are there. Now, the electricity, how the blue line is going, this is how the electricity is going. Now, if the traders and bankers, they have to get the money from these sources, they are getting like this individually. Now, blockchain integrates everyone together. Now, look at the data transition that has come through blockchain. All the data are integrated. There will not be any transactions. It will be a virtual platform. So everyone is connected. The electricity is transmitted and the data is also going. Now the money that is required on the trading platform, that will automatically get debited just like your telecommunication bills. So these are the things which we are going to shake our hands in future with the complete technology. It is not half technology. It is the future technologies. That is what going to play a major role. Thank you very much.
next gen presentation आपने दी है. This is really very good presentation. So I would like to invite वीके सिंह साहब कि इस सब्जेक्ट के ऊपर वेबिनार में आकर के अपनी बात बोलें और अपनी नॉलेज हमारे साथ शेयर करें। और फिर बाद में हम लोग, मैं ऑडियंस को बताना चाहूँगा कि हम लोग बाद में क्वेश्चन आंसर सेशन लेंगे और आपके जो भी क्वेश्चंस हैं प्लीज़ चैट बॉक्स में लिख दें। आपके जो भी क्वेश्चंस हैं वो चैट बॉक्स में डाल दें और साथ में लिख दें कि आप किस पैनलिस्ट से अपना क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहते हैं। तो प्लीज़ डू राइट इन द चैट बॉक्स ओनली। जी सिंह साहब।
Thank you, Sharma ji. Thank you, Vinod Bihari ji, for giving me this opportunity. And thank you particularly, Mr. Sharma, for sharing a wonderful input into the all elements of HRD, learning and development. And I also thank Mr. Vinod Bihari for pitching a question that because he has a big game at stake. I mean, he has to train a large number of people that to at ground level. So I'll cover this thing in my address. But what I want to focus on our experience, our journey into L&D, and what we feel in our organization that learning is a transformational thing. You should do it only when it brings some transformation, some changes in the person's life or in his career or in his job domain. So it's a value-driven thing, and this pandemic has really accelerated many workplace transformation, and online learning is totally changed. I tell you, before this COVID started, we were doing hardly 5% of online training. The majority training was, and we had a mandate that we'll train every employee of first 10,000 employees. We'll give them 7 days, minimum 7 days training to each. That was our mandate. And we were not only training target employees, we had almost 14 countries and similar number of national provision utilities and some banks also who were coming to us for training. So that was our status before the COVID struck us. I will tell you the story as to how we have dealt the issue. And so we used to come out with organization need analysis and TMA mapping on 10,000 people training dates, and then coming out with a calendar emphasizing what training program they will. So this time as the COVID came, we realized that now it's not possible that to give them hands-on classroom training at our 5 of our academies. So only way was to migrate to the online platform. And we decided that we'll not leave any program. We'll deliver all the program which we have outlined, which for any big organization, you plan in advance, well, 1 year in advance, and people line up, look up to those programs. It is because it brings a transformational change in their life, in their career, in their knowledge, skill, and attitude. So we immediately opened two studios in our academy and started rolling on everything. I mean, in the public sector, you know, earlier we were not doing many things online, but within 2 days, entire system we moved on online system, with approval system or communication system, everything. I mean, earlier we were doing some remote operations, not some remote operation, but a large chunk of remote operation online, managing of substation on remotely. With remote controls that we were doing there was a big technology infusion in Power Grid because we have grown in 30 years a big way. The technology infusion is one of the very in 2 days on online platform was not a major task for us. We just moved on and started rolling out programs on online basis. We were using all kinds of online technology. And important thing was we realized certain program we have to drop because certain program can be delivered only on the ground. They cannot be delivered, and which was particularly emphasis on Mr. Vinod Bihari that how to train people with the basic minimum skill on how. See that high-end program can be done online, but a low-end program, even if you use the top-end technology like artificial reality or virtual reality, one has to come to the classroom. It cannot be online on a remote basis. So we were using all kind of possible technologies, online training, all audiovisual, virtual reality, augmented reality, simulation, three-dimensional and interactive infographics, gaming. Some voice is disturbing me. So What do you think? To create such a system, you need a very support of the institute should there. You need support of the top management is a must. That only
सॉरी टू
important program on
सॉरी टू
senior
इंटरप्ट
people.
यू गेस्ट से मेरा रिक्वेस्ट है कि प्लीज अपने सभी माइक स्विच ऑफ रखें. आई आई हैव ए हम्बल रिक्वेस्ट टू माय गेस्ट, प्लीज स्विच ऑफ योर माइक्स. जी सिंह साहब प्लीज कंटिन्यू.
Yes. So we created that we'll not leave these online program in isolation. We'll create involvement of senior people so that people are connected. And then we made a L&D scorecard that yes, because we have a large number of programs, so monitoring them on the scorecard was a must, and created metrics as to how to capture. I mean, in an online program, the important thing is how you evaluate, because you don't know the feedback of person online, whether what he is doing, how much interactive he is. It's a difficult to gauge that. So we created a lot of evaluation, third-party evaluation also, so that we can measure their learning. That's very important online. That you must enable a lot of measuring factor. Otherwise, online training might go waste. As far as the cost is concerned, it's a very minimal actually. The cost calling one person to one of our training center, training them, the cost of travel and training is a huge. Compared to that, online cost, it's a very minimal actually. It's a very cheap in terms of. That's one of big opportunity. I mean, Mr. Vinod Bihari, he named program as challenges, but there is a big opportunity. And there are threats also in online learning. So you need to fix learning KRA for each employee, and must also give reward also, that any time people learn. We made a big reward scheme to award employees. Like we rolled out 500 Harvard business courses to all great performers, all rolling or giving 500 Harvard business program, and which each with reward point actually. What you will get if you're within 10, within top 10, within top 20, top 50, and like that. And there were a lot of, I mean, it's for use for other people in different organizations. There is a platform called Swing. This is developed by IIT and IIM, where they have almost a very large number of courses, almost on free. And when we floated in our portal, more than 2,200 people got enrolled in that. And that is one you can use this platform. And for certification, they charge a very small amount, which you can reimburse to employees. That is, I'm telling you, the organization which do not have their own kind of online system, they can go to these sites. And there is a Coursera, Udemy also. There, those who cannot afford to develop their own content, own program, so they can resort to this technique and deliver this program to their employee. That is because in larger organization, you need to develop, because you have a like we are in transmission and telecom. I mean, transmission, when I told you that we are training 14 countries, that means probably we only have the capability to train. So you don't, you don't get that kind of training partners with you who can develop content for you. And the content creation for training is most important, because as an online learner, what is important is what content you are getting. So, and imagine when you move from offline to online, the content of the larger people who are delivering doesn't change much. So this, as a HRD head, you need to ensure that the content your trainers are creating are of very high quality. They are capturing people mind, capturing people, attracting them. That's very important actually. Creating content is the most important thing in online learning actually, because it's a very difficult to gauge other side. What is the learner's interest? So creating interest and creating good content followed by good evaluation mechanism is a very important. That is what we do in our system. Okay. So you can do sponsorship also, then faculty development, you need to continue upgrade whatever large number of faculty you are using. You need to upgrade them. Then you can create professional circle in every department where people, there's already WhatsApp group and so many other groups, but still you can create professional circle where people share You can allow them on your portal also facility to people to share their knowledge, and that's what we have done. We have a Pragyan portal where people, almost we are incentivizing people sharing their knowledge, and not incentivizing people sharing their knowledge, but people learning actually. Both you need to monitor actually how many people log in, how many people clicks. So there must be a continuous watch, and senior people must sensitize people that we are watching you. We see that how much download you are, how much content you are downloading, and how much you are watching also. I mean, in IT platform, it's very easy to judge actually how many people are coming, putting forth. Uh, so most of the organization have e-learning portal where they put in. Earlier we used to buy high-end e-learning programs, but we decided now that we need to create our own e-learning program. We cannot rely, because those were either in management or behavioral or in these categories. For technical program, for your organization specific, you need to create your own program. So you need to have your own web-based learning management system and web-based managing portal, mentoring portal. And like I tell you, we recruit about 100 plus engineers every year. So when we close down, they go for rigorous 1 year training. So when we close down academy and we send them to different places, it was very important to monitor them on regular basis for a year. For that, we created online mentoring process so that although they are away from classroom, but they are trained actually. And it's not possible that like earlier we used to give them classroom training for a long period. So you are hand-holding through online training. That's what many organizations could do, mentoring for the younger engineers, the people who just joined, actually new beginner in the organizations. And it's very important that your programs have linkage to the organizational strategy. I mean, just because online is in fashion, I mean, you should not be doing unless you really feel need. And it should be linked to your talent strategy also. And critical business issues, like we go that what are the technology coming in market, what are the new initiatives, like we realize that artificial intelligence and machine learning is coming in a big way. So we are giving almost 50 people, we are selecting and giving them a program, 1 year long program with Triple IT Bangalore. That's we are planning in the planning stage. Then last year we got our own RAP is registered, Power Grid is registered partner for project management program. So that also earlier this program was being delivered in classroom. We decided that we'll do it online. So this project management program is now being rolled out on online basis. So this is what we have done actually. I mean, basically people encouraging people to come out with knowledge, especially when your knowledge portal. You should allow people to share their knowledge, your failure, your success story, your important commissioning. Now we are, I mean, I must tell you that there were many issues which were resolved through online earlier, like whenever we had some trouble, engineer used to come from maybe in some part of India or abroad, taking 3 days and repairing that. So those we could do online. I mean, somewhere someone sitting in Germany could teach our employee, and we rectified many big problems through online. I mean, this is also kind of online training which you can use for sorting out real problem, real hands-on problem on ground basis can be resolved on online basis. I mean, on online. I mean, so this online is a beautiful thing now because whatever it be, any problem you have anywhere, you have no option but to think of doing it online. The only way is to reach whether people are seeking medical and anything you have online is the only way, either medical consultation or whatever actually. So online is a solution, and it's throwing a big opportunity. What need to be confronted in a new way, and new way is online only. There are multiple tools which Mahesh Sharma has emphasized. You can use either of them. Either use high-end augmented reality or artificial reality. But these are the technology and tools which you can use. And like Mahesh Sharma said, the new generation is app savvy. They can do it on their mobile phone. Yes, make it available on wherever people want, not only at home, wherever they want, training can be delivered. This is a possibility which has been created that knowledge can be delivered anywhere. That's a possibility which online mechanism has created. So it's important what kind of a culture you build, kind of linkage you create, linkage with the organizational strategy, and how you integrate to bigger picture in the organization. With the learning must link to the your future progression, like how you relate it to your multi-source feedback, your to bridge the performance gap, and it's very important that whatever you do in training, those are competency based. Like when we do, when our recommendation to training is also competency based assessment we do. I mean, we have defined behavioral and functional competencies. Only when if you possess those competencies, the system itself check you out for those programs. If we find that there is a gap, there is a skill gap, the competency establishes, you are recommended for the program. So that kind of competency base you can make in your organization. So that is what I would suggest. A few things among what you can do in your and tool systems are very important. It's very important that you create a good infrastructure in online training. It's infrastructure in organization, infrastructure with people, giving people infrastructure that all have. And one wonderful thing we did, we have given the pad to all our employees, all workmen, all supervisors, all executives. We have during the time of COVID, we have given them a tablet that they can buy and they can use it. It's very important. If you engage them, they must have infrastructure. That's the most important thing. I mean, you cannot fight the war without the proper equipment. So that is how we have enabled it. 10,000 people giving them iPad is basically an idea to integrate them them online. And then this is largely what I had to say. Uh, Make it user friendly, easily navigable, feature rich platform is the most important thing. And because cost is now, I mean, earlier what you were spending in terms of training, now it's a very minimal. So you can spend on infrastructure also and many other things. Although cost has never been a prohibitive thing, and so it's very important to create a big infrastructure in the organization with the people and whoever the stakeholder. I mean, whoever you want to deliver training. So that is what I would like to say. And this is all I would like to say. So quality of good infrastructure is a very important thing for online or virtual learning. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
थैंक्स अलॉट सिंह साहब। तो यानी कि ये बात अभी इस्टेब्लिश हो जाती है कि मैं अगर आपसे एक क्वेश्चन करूं कि क्योंकि आप एचआर देखते हैं और लोगों का एक जो टेम्परामेंट है ऑनलाइन लर्निंग के लिए वो अभी कैसा आपको नज़र आता है, क्योंकि आपने काफ़ी सारे एफर्ट्स बताए, अपने एम्प्लॉयज़ को एंगेज करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं और उनको ऑनलाइन ट्रेनिंग देने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। तो अभी टेम्परामेंट कैसा है और कोविड से पहले का कैसा था और अभी कैसा है?
देखिए, टेम्परामेंट लर्निंग का कभी खत्म नहीं होता. पीपल ऑलवेज वांट टू लर्न, ऑलवेज वांट टू एक्वायर, एंड दिस इज अ टाइम व्हेन यू कैन फोकस more on learning actually. So this is the time when you can, this is spare time also. People have lot of time working at home. Although working at home is more difficult, I won't say they have more time, but people have a learning aptitude, and it's a learning time. Basically, the best usage of this time is in learning and development. And the temperament of learning has not gone down. That I must say. But it's a very important, I said earlier also, that because you cannot gauge the reaction and temperament on online learning mode, what he is doing behind the camera, you cannot judge. So it's a very important that you must have assessment actually. Every program must follow with a good feedback mechanism and good evaluation mechanism. So we have created a big data bank. So it's important to wake up people actually. With the online program, you must wake up, shake them up, and make them learn and evaluate them. That's very important.
So I have a question with Bihari ji. आपको क्या लगता है कि एनएसडीसी कितना अलाउ करता है ऑनलाइन ट्रेनिंग्स के लिए? अगर मैं अपने स्किल इकोसिस्टम की बात करूं, जहां पे ट्रेनिंग टीपीज हैं, जहां पे टीपी का इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है और टीपी के प्रेमाइसेस में सारी ट्रेनिंग्स होती ही रही हैं अभी तक, तो आपको क्या लगता है कि ऑनलाइन ट्रेनिंग्स एनएसडीसी या हमारा स्किल इकोसिस्टम में कितना अलाउड होगा?
देखिए, ऑनलाइन ट्रेनिंग की व्यवस्था तो है। हमारा जो स्किल इकोसिस्टम है आज काफ़ी डेवलप हो चुका है। गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया, अंडर मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ स्किल डेवलपमेंट एंड एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप, दे हैव established roughly about 600 प्रधानमंत्री कौशल केंद्रस, PMKKs, roughly one in every district. And these PMKKs are equipped with all necessary infrastructure, both physical training delivery and online training delivery. तो उनके माध्यम से बहुत ही प्रभावशाली तरीके से ऑनलाइन ट्रेनिंग की डिलीवरी की जा सकती है और की जा रही है। और NSDC की जो आपने बात करी, नेशनल स्किल डेवलपमेंट कॉरपोरेशन, अभी इसको एक्सपेरिमेंट कर रहा है। फिलहाल उन्होंने ऑन द ये ट्रेनिंग ऑफ ट्रेनर्स, ट्रेनिंग ऑफ असेसर्स को ऑनलाइन मोड में करने की अनुमति दी है, जिस क्षेत्र में हम काफ़ी काम कर रहे हैं। हमने कई पायलट बैचेस अभी रन किए हैं। ट्रेनिंग ऑफ ट्रेनर्स चूँकि हमारी एक ज़रूरी आवश्यकता होती है, which prepares trainer to come to a stage of readiness to deliver classroom training and otherwise training delivery. So we have done a great lot of work. We have prepared ourselves. We have delivered some pilot batches successfully, and we are scaling it up gradually. जहाँ तक पार्टिसिपेंट्स को फील्ड लेवल पे ऑनलाइन ट्रेनिंग देने की बात है, उसमें तो चैलेंजेस हैं। जो क्लासरूम कंपोनेंट है, थ्योरी कंपोनेंट है, उसको तो ऑनलाइन मोड में करने में कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, वो हो जाती है वो। लेकिन जैसा कि हमने पहले कहा था कि स्किल का एक मेजर कंपोनेंट है ऑन द जॉब लर्निंग। जब तक वो ऑन द जॉब उसको प्रैक्टिस नहीं करता है, प्रोफिशिएंसी वहाँ नहीं आती है, तब तक उसको हम स्किल के मामले में प्रोफिशिएंट और सक्षम नहीं मान सकते हैं। इसलिए वहाँ पर अभी हम दूसरे अपने नए नए तरीक़ों का इस्तेमाल करके उस गैप को फिलअप करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, जो अभी पैंडेमिक के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में पैदा हुई है। तो उसमें जैसा हमने बताया कि सिमुलेशन बेस्ड ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम्स हैं, यूज़ ऑफ ऑडियो विजुअल्स हैं, और इस तरह के AR VR एप्लीकेशंस के साथ में जो ट्रेनिंग डिलीवरी की प्रक्रिया है, उसको करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। हमें खुशी है कि हमारे पैनलिस्ट ने बड़े अच्छे सुझाव दिए हैं। जैसा मनोज शर्मा जी ने काफ़ी कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव टेक्नोलॉजी, यूज़ ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी इन ट्रेनिंग डिलीवरी एंड स्किल डेवलपमेंट डिलीवरी के विषय में बहुत ही कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव प्रेजेंटेशन दिया, और साथ ही इन्होंने लर्नर बिहेवियर के बारे में भी बताया कि लर्नर की किस तरह से लर्नर वुड लाइक टू लर्न एट हिज ओन पेस एंड स्पीड। वो जब काम में उसको समस्या होती है तो वहाँ पर उसको सीखने की चाहत होती है। और फिर इस तरह की जो ट्रेनिंग डिलीवरी है वो गेमिफिकेशन के माध्यम से, इन्फोग्राफिक्स के माध्यम से और इस तरह के नए टेक्निक्स के माध्यम से इफ़ेक्टिव तरीके से की जा सकती है। हम निश्चित तौर पर उन तरीक़ों को ध्यान देते हुए उन्हें अपनाने की कोशिश करेंगे, ताकि assuming that this pandemic phase continues for a longer duration, our skilling activities should not suffer. And hopefully with the use of these techniques and tools, we will be able to substantially fill the gap and give the participants a near on-the-job training experience and enable them eventually to acquire the skill sets which would finally help them to seek gainful employment and earn livelihood. तो इस तरह से NSDC भी काफ़ी कोऑपरेट कर रहा है, वो भी समझ रहे हैं वर्तमान परिस्थिति को। कौशल विकास मंत्रालय भी इसके प्रति काफ़ी जागरूक है और उन्होंने भी कई सुझाव दिए हैं। और साथ में जो वैज्ञानिक पद्धतियां हैं, टूल्स, टेक्निक्स आदि जो इमर्ज होके आ रहे हैं, इन सबों के मिले जुले प्रयास से मुझे लगता है कि यदि पैंडेमिक का फेज कंटिन्यू करता है तो हम इन सारे नई तकनीक और नई टेक्नोलॉजीज़ के माध्यम से जो गैप की स्थिति पैदा हुई उसको बहुत हद तक फिलअप करने में सक्षम हो पाएंगे।
थैंक्स अ लॉट विनोद जी। तो मेरा अगला क्वेश्चन है मनोज जी से। मनोज जी, मुझे ये बताइए कि आप बहुत सारे लोगों को रिक्रूट करते हैं, आप और लगातार लोगों को आप लोगों से मुलाकात करते हैं, बहुत सारे लोग आपके पास इंटरव्यूज़ के लिए भी आते हैं। तो किस तरह का जो अभी जिस तरह का आपने प्रेज़ेंटेशन दिया और जिस तरह का सिनेरियो आपने हमारे देश के फ्यूचर पावर सेक्टर के लिए बताया, जिस तरह का बदलाव आने वाला है, तो उस तरीके से आपको क्या लगता है कि स्किल गैप किस तरह का एग्ज़िस्ट करता है? और उस स्किल गैप को बिहारी जी की टीम और पावर एसएससी की टीम आपके साथ मिलकर के किस तरीके से उस स्किल गैप को कम कर सकती है और लोगों को ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा एम्प्लॉयबल बनाया जा सकता है?
The major challenge right now is if you look at the quality of the curriculum, what students are reading right now, either in diploma or ITI or engineering also, although that exists already, right? And that curriculum is compatible with what technologies are existing right now. They are not going to be wiped out overnight. It will take some time. But we have to get ready for those technologies that will get embedded with existing technologies. Because unless the student is able to grasp and learn quickly, he will not be able to get the job in the market. If I give you an example of the batch BTech in computer science. Now, one onus of a BTech computer science student is to train to be trained by the institute itself. Now they can make changes that if the student is coder and he has a high interest in coder, can he learn more application on Javas? Now Java is outgoing, the Python is coming. Can he learn simultaneously on Python? Now students who are halted, paused for this year and industries have not gone for campus hiring. Now all those students, there is a huge opportunity for them to bridge that gap during this time to uh, not only to increase the knowledge of that particular language or particular skill that they require to get employable in the market, but they can apply their knowledge also. They can get into the application part. There are many startup companies, those are there. They are looking for such students to avail that opportunity because they may not be able to pay very high, but with less compensation, the learning opportunity will be there. Those platforms will be there for students. So if we want to interview, say, diploma holders right now, the major challenge with the diploma holders or the ITIs would be the application that is getting inducted, deployed. For example, if I say our meter readers, so we tried during this time that instead of going for using that machine and with the help of wire they connect to the meters, can they be given the application, means the mobile application? We have tried and we have succeeded. Now, it is not a rocket science because mobile is used by all the people. What is important is if the engineer is coming, is he able to guide and make those changes in the application itself, understanding what it can make further smart. Now, in the hands of the ITI or the worker who is applying that to the machine for the purpose of meter recording. Now, going forward, those smart meters will be there. But during this time, whenever that transition time, all those diploma engineers or ITIs or engineers, they need to quickly bridge that gap. There are two options to bridge that gap. One, for industries, they can quickly tie up with the institutes they prefer to hire. So in their last batch, maybe 6 months or 1 year, they can get, they can tie up with them, introduce those challenges which their business is facing right now. And immediately they can plug with those gaps so that when the student is out, the industry doesn't have lag time of 1 year or 6 months to make him complete engineer. So that they can avail the generation that is coming up. The people who are already out, the opportunity is already there because they are sitting at home. There is no work. If Power Sector Skill Council or NSDC is really looking for those students to get employed, the immediate need is we can segment them, and after segmenting, we can identify the needs, asking to the industry what exactly that is changing, because all the industries are changing. They are not announcing, but they are trying to bridge that gap as fast as possible from customer experience point of view. The customer is not asking to make those technological changes, but industry is generating that demand, so that customer experience becomes the paramount importance, so that that customer gets attracted to them. So there is no demand, but industry is generating. So industry is the onus. Industry is having the onus of telling that gap to the institute or our NSDC or Power Sector Skill Council. Survey can be done. Survey is the easiest and fastest mode of getting that input. And with the help of that input, all the courses, those are there. All institutes, the fast-paced institutes, they have already, started those courses, curriculums, and with the help of those faculties, immediately that can be bridged.
So I have a viewer. His name is Santanu Rath. He has a question for you. He just wanted to know, like simulation, what is the challenges for the simulation and learning through the simulation can be possible or not in the future.
Yes, it is possible. I think if you look at there was a WhatsApp that was floated, I think, couple of months back. So Microsoft goggles, that gadget is there, that gives you the complete feel of simulation, whatever you want to do. You can, even in the education sector, you have the diagram, you have the dissection of any animal. You can actually pick up that from the screen and separate it. So those technologies, simulator technologies, are already there. See, simulator technologies were already existing. If you look at, our sector has already been, using the simulators since many years. The only thing is, now with the help of advanced technologies, the digitalization technologies, and the higher level, high end of technologies, that is getting embedded. So those simulations are little expensive if somebody has to go to for a lower needs. But if scale is there, so definitely those simulators will be highly useful. Uh, if you remember, the pilot training that happens on simulator initially. Our the control rooms in the thermal stations, simulators, all the students are trained on those simulators. So we have in Adani, we have simulators of subcritical and supercritical technologies. Now, with integrated energy systems, definitely there we need a very newer age of simulators. So that may not have embedded right now in India. So those technologies are there, but not in the country. Those are already there. What I spoke about artificial intelligence and machine learning, all those platforms are already existing in all major countries. In India, it is little expensive, but those countries have also lowered the cost of their platforms during this time. If we want to use that, we can use those technologies also. Maybe in India, if we want to look at the content creation and all that, Excel Pro gamification, that vendor is there. The Stylus is there, who are excellent in a Mumbai-based company. They create the contents for your e-learning courses and everything. So there are many companies in the country who are already doing a lot of content creation, but from simulation point of view, there are very few in the country. Rather, I should say the companies like Honeywell, who create those simulators, and I think there were not many companies in India. It's all Siemens. I think they are also creating simulators. But if you have to go into very specific about, somebody wants to learn the designing part of it, those simulators are also there. Rather, those are easily available. Those are from gamification point of view, that has gone even below the graduation level. So even for kids, these simulation games are available, where they can learn even the graphics and all those skills they can learn. So those are there in India. Even NITs, I think they had announced lately that they'll be able to train students online with all those simulations. It's there.
So I think Santanu has got his answer. Now I have a question to VK Singh साहब. VK Singh साहब, अभी मोदी जी ने जैसे कि बोला, हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कि वोकल फॉर लोकल, और पावर सेक्टर में भी चाइना, मेड इन चाइना सामान काफ़ी यूज़ होता है। और तो इस केस में अगर आज के टाइम में जब हम लोगों ने मेड इन चाइना सामान को बैन किया है, तो आई एम प्रीटी श्योर कि पावर ग्रिड और उनमें ट्रांसमिशन में भी उस तरह का सामान आप लोग यूज़ करते होंगे। तो क्या पॉसिबिलिटीज़ बनती हैं हमारे नौजवानों के लिए वोकल फॉर लोकल? क्या आप ऐसे हमारे नौजवानों को यू वुड लाइक टू प्रमोट देम, और आप उनको प्रोत्साहित करने की भी कोई ऐसा कुछ काम कर रहे हैं?
देखिए, जवानों को हम लोग प्रोत्साहित करने के लिए बहुत पहले से, इवन पावर सेक्टर स्किल काउंसिल आने से पहले से हम लोग ट्रेन कर रहे हैं यूथ ऑफ JNK एंड नॉर्थ ईस्ट। और हमने बहुत सारे प्रोग्राम चलाए हैं लोगों को इनरोल करने के लिए, लाइवलीहुड देने के लिए। तो अभी राइट नाउ वी हैव गिवन ए मैंडेट टू पावर सेक्टर स्किल काउंसिल टू ट्रेन 6,000 people and make them employable. Similarly, I mean, we are doing as a CSR also a large initiative there. We are making people ready for take up some employment with our contractor or somewhere else. So we are training a large number of youth in the country to make them employable. We are using your power sector skill council, skill development through our own institutions. We have, I mean, the total figure would be very large. I don't have exact number, but this initiative we have taken for last almost 10, 12 years.
सो बिहारी जी, अभी जैसे वोकल फॉर लोकल का एक कैंपेन चल रहा है, जो मोदी जी ने बोला था कि हम अपनी ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोकल वेंडर्स को प्रमोट करें। तो ऐसी कुछ ट्रेनिंग्स भी आप लोग कर रहे हैं? ऐसा कुछ जॉब रोल आप लोगों ने मैंडेट या बनाए हैं जो हमारे यूथ को वोकल फॉर लोकल के लिए प्रमोट करें, और वो अपने ऐसे प्रोडक्ट बना करके जैसे कि पावर ग्रिड है या फिर अडानी है, इस तरह की कंपनीज को पिच कर पाएँ?
नहीं, ऐसा है कि लोकल फॉर वोकल एक कॉन्सेप्ट है जिसमें एक इंडिजिनस
सर,
प्रोडक्शन
मेरे को
को
परमिशन
बढ़ावा
दें
देने
तो
की
आई हैव
बात।
टू ज्वाइन अनदर वेबिनार सर।
हाँ,
I take
जी, जी, जी
permission
सर।
to leave
जी,
because
बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल।
I have to
Thank
join
you.
another webinar. I really, really thank you, sir.
या
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
थैंक यू
Thank you
सिंह
so
साहब।
much, Singh Saab, for your valued
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
participation. And we look forward
Right,
to
sir.
your support and guidance in future as well. Thank you.
Sir, if anyone has any question, they can mail you and I'll revert to that actually. Okay.
Sure.
Right, sir. Thank you. I'm really sorry to
No.
leave
It was a
actually. Thank
privilege
you,
to
sir.
have you. It was a
Thank you.
privilege to have you. Thank you so much. Thank you. हाँ, तो ब्रजेश, मैं ये कह रहा था कि लोकल फॉर वोकल की जो बात है वो एक धारणा है जिसके अंतर्गत हमें इंडिजिनस प्रोड्यूसर्स को बढ़ावा देने की बात है कि ऐसे जो इम्पोर्टेड आइटम्स जो हमारे पावर सेक्टर में या दूसरे सेक्टर्स में यूटिलाइज होते हैं, उन इंडिजिनस प्रोडक्ट्स के, उन इम्पोर्टेड प्रोडक्ट्स की जगह पे हम इंडिजिनस प्रोडक्ट्स कैसे डेवलप करें और उसको यहाँ इस्तेमाल करें ताकि हम एक आत्मनिर्भर इस मामले में बन सकें। तो वो तो टेक्नोलॉजी डेवलपर्स और वो सारे लोग इस क्षेत्र में काम कर रहे हैं, और आने वाले दिनों में हम ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा आत्मनिर्भर हो पाएंगे, ऐसा हम सबों का सोचना है। जहाँ तक पावर सेक्टर स्किल काउंसिल का सवाल है कि हम जो लोगों को जो इनकी ट्रेनिंग देते हैं वो तो हमारी बिल्कुल इंडिजिनस टेक्नोलॉजी है। पावर सेक्टर में जनरेशन है, ट्रांसमिशन है, डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन है और डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन डाउनस्ट्रीम ऑपरेशंस हैं, और कई और दूसरे क्षेत्र भी आ रहे हैं जिनमें हमारे विभिन्न विषयों पर, जॉब रोल्स पर आधारित ट्रेनिंग और स्किल डेवलपमेंट की ट्रेनिंग दी जाती है। तो हमारे जो लोग हैं वो स्थानीय लोग हैं, लोकल यूथ हैं, जो एम्प्लॉयर्स हैं वो लोकल हैं, जहाँ पर वो काम करते हैं, जो टेक्नोलॉजी इस्तेमाल करते हैं वो लोकल है। तो इस तरह से वहाँ पर वो ऐसी कोई समस्या नहीं है कि वो इंडिजिनस है और लोकल ही है, सारे लोकल लोग काम कर रहे हैं। हाँ, ये बात है कि अगर कोई विदेशी टेक्नोलॉजी का हस्तांतरण होता है या उसका इंडियनाइजेशन किया जाता है तो हम उस क्षेत्र में भी तैयार हैं कि उस क्षेत्र में कोई स्पेसिफिक स्किल सेट्स की आवश्यकता होती है तो उन स्किल सेट्स पर भी हम ट्रेनिंग देकर लोगों को सक्षम और काबिल बना सकेंगे ताकि वो उन नए क्षेत्रों में काम करके और इंडस्ट्री की मदद कर सकें, अपने लिए एक अच्छे रोज़गार की व्यवस्था कर सकें। इसके लिए भी हम तैयार हैं और हमारा प्रयास हमेशा जारी रहता है।
थैंक यू सर। मनोज जी से मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है। मनोज जी, जो अभी हम लोगों ने वोकल फॉर लोकल की बात की, तो इसके तहत अदानी भी बहुत सारे जो इक्विपमेंट, स्पेशली अगर मैं बात करूँ जो इक्विपमेंट्स बनते हैं, इस्तेमाल होते हैं डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के लिए, एनर्जी डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के लिए, या मीटर अप्लायंसेस होते हैं, तो वहाँ से बहुत सारी जगहों पे चाइनीज़ प्रोडक्ट का इस्तेमाल होता रहा है। सो आप लोगों की क्या पॉलिसी है, और क्या ऐसे ये नौजवानों को या स्टार्टअप्स को आप लोग प्रोत्साहित करना चाहते हैं कि अगर वो अपने प्रोडक्ट के साथ में आएंगे तो यू आर गोइंग टू सपोर्ट देम?
I am not the right person to answer this question, but philosophically, uh, we are a evolutionary organization. We always claim that Adani is a evolutionary organization. We quickly change to the market needs and the market dynamics. Nothing is stable in Adani. So even if we are thinking right now, next 5 years, probably somebody at promoter level would be thinking next 25 years and maybe 100 years. So we are looking at much, our size and scale that matters in the organization, and that is how the vision is much larger. And maybe uh, we try to uh, achieve the vision of the country, and we claim that we contribute to the nation building. So that is how, when we try to look at the vocal for local. So I think that idea is really good. But since Adani's size and scale is exceptionally large, when we look at that, we had 1200 megawatt of solar panels manufacturing at Mundra. So that itself was a largest capacity. Now the startups, they don't have that scale when they try to think about it. So my message from this platform is, even the startup, I think there are many angel investors, those are looking for such people. If I remember sharply, there is a company called Darwin Box. It is uh, it is created by, I think, 5 or 6 youngsters, and it is funded by, I think, all the good companies. I'm not naming that right now on this platform. I know them. If I compare the international products in comparison to the SAP or Oracle, I think that's the best. I'm not advocating for that. I'm advocating for the product, because you said about vocal for local, and those are our Indian people, our young people, and we are going to have that. So my group, at group level, we have Oracle, but then when they came little later, but then we had preference over that Oracle product, and we said yes, we will prefer Darwin Box. And that is how we are encouraging, not in a that manner what we are able to actually plan, but definitely that product is competing the international products, and that is available in India.
Okay, now we have come at the end of the webinar, and I would like to thank Manoj ji. Thanks for joining us. I would like to thanks
Ritesh,
Vinod ji. Thanks for joining us, sir. जी जी प्लीज।
एक तो मैंने अभी जो मनोज जी ने जो कहा उसको थोड़ा सा मैं सप्लीमेंट करूंगा, बिकॉज वी हैव बीन वर्किंग विद अडानी फॉर अ लॉन्ग टाइम। आपका मुंद्रा प्लांट हम लोग गए थे, आपको याद होगा,
Yes,
जो
yes, yes.
इंपोर्ट सब्स्टिट्यूशन की दिशा में एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण काम हो रहा है वहां पर। जो हम सोलर पावर की अभी बात कर रहे हैं, प्रॉब्ली दे आर द वन एंड द ओनली मैन्युफैक्चरर्स ऑफ सोलर पैनल इन इंडिया, जबकि सारे सोलर प्लांट्स जो है वो इंपोर्ट पर आधारित हैं। दे आर डिपेंडिंग ऑन imports from abroad. Adanis have taken the initiative much before the vocal for local slogan came. Much before that, they have been working in this direction, and they have set up a huge plant in Mundra, Gujarat, for production of solar panels. तो सोलर पैनल को लोकल मैन्युफैक्चर करने का शायद वो इंडिया में अकेला प्लांट है, और देश की बहुत हद तक आवश्यकताओं को पूरा कर रहा है, जिससे हमारा इंपोर्ट पर जो हमारी डिपेंडेंस है वो कम हो रही है। So of course they do not talk much about themselves, but I can say that they are already working for a very long time.
सिर्फ मैं इतना सा बोलूंगा, थैंक्स विनोद जी फॉर शेयरिंग दिस, बिकॉज ही हैड विटनेस्ड बाय हिज विजिट. Whatever initially we had Chinese technology for thermal power plants, we have done the reverse engineering, not today, many years back, and there is no dependency there. And that is how we try to indigenize and we create our local vendors, and they do that better job than anybody else. We have robotic process automation also in the solar panel manufacturing. So all those, that's a very high tech, world class plant. But everything is getting reverse engineered, and that is how vocal for local we are for it.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
now
Thank you.
it's a time to leave. And thanks Vinod ji, and thanks Manoj ji, and thanks to my audience. They have listened us very patientfully, and hopefully we will be joining again with the new webinar. And विनोद जी की ये खास बात है कि वो पैनलिस्ट भी बहुत अच्छे लाते हैं और टॉपिक्स भी बहुत अच्छे लाते हैं.
Thank you so much.
So thanks a lot. Thanks everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Manoj Sharma, it was a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much. Vinodji,
Thank
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.